Hey everyone, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm playing and reviewing Toriki, the Castaway Island. And disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So in Toriki, and I've not actually played it yet, I've just read through the rules because I want to kind of show you my initial first experience with it. You and up to 3 other players will be traveling around on this island. It does get bigger. This is one of 4 pieces. You unlock the others as you go. And you'll be using tools to interact with the different kind of clues and types of terrains you see. And to actually find out what will happen, you'll be using an app like some of Lucky Duck's other games, sort of similar to Chronicles of Crime or Destiny. And you'll be scanning QR codes on items, and then the app will kind of tell you what's happening. And that's about as much as I know. So I'm going to play through just the beginning here. Minimal spoilers, both because I want people watching to be able to enjoy the game, and also because I want to go and play it with my family. Solo is not my intended way to experience this, casual, friendly, family-friendly game. So what I'm going to do is play through just a few rounds, give you kind of the basic idea of what's going on, maybe complete, 1 mission. And then I'm going to pause things, go and play with my family over the next week or 2 or however long it takes, and come back and finish the video once I've played through most or all of the game to give you my full thoughts on it. So feel free to skip if you don't want to have any of the spoilers and get right to the review. That will come in the future. But let's get to things right now. All right, so the app has a little narrative intro. It is the 19th century. You are a group of gifted children from all around the world, given a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take part in a scientific expedition led by a well-known biology professor. He takes you on a cruise to Toriki, a semi-legendary remote tropical island that is said to be home to various plants and animals that can't be found anywhere else in the world. No scientist has ever visited it, and all the information about its flora and fauna are based on accounts from sailors who once ventured into these remote waters and whose credibility is much disputed. The most valuable source are the illustrations in the wildlife catalog purchased by the professor in one of London's second-hand bookstores. After several weeks at sea, you were finally close to your destination when you got caught in a terrible storm. Your ship crashed on underwater rocks, and you, using the last of your strength, swam to shore. Here's where your adventure begins. How many players? We're going to try true solo. I'm Red. My name is M. You can save the game. It's progress by pressing the blank icon in the upper left corner. Okay, we don't care about all that right now. The sun is still hidden behind the horizon, but in the first light of dawn, you are able to finally see the place where the night storm had brought you. You are on a tropical beach with a vast ocean to the south, jagged peaks of rock to the west, and a dense wall of vegetation to the north and east. You are tired, hungry, and terrified about your situation. I'll pull map 1 out. We already did that. The professor is sitting on the sand, a grim smile on his face. "Looks like we finally reached our destination," he says. "This must be Toriki. There are no other islands in this part of the ocean. Bad news is it's uninhabited and rarely visited by ships, so we are on our own here." The professor tries to get up, but suddenly falls back onto the sand with a groan of pain. "I badly hurt my leg," he says. "I'll have to stay here while you have a look around. This part of the beach seems like a good place for camping." Location 1 is now your main camp. You can craft new items. You can ask for hints from the professor. All right. "Now we need to secure our survival here," continues the professor. "First, you need to find at least 3 sources of food and build a shelter." So the game's got 2 decks, one small, one large. The small one is missions. You're not supposed to, of course, look at anything except the ones that you're told. So I've got to build a hut and find 3 different sources of food. All of them have QR codes I can scan in the app. "The good news is I managed to save my backpack from the ship." The professor takes out a knife, an axe, a small shovel, a telescope, and 4 cans of baked beans. All right, here we go. These are the larger cards, tools, and you'll see you use these very quickly and interact with things. He also gives me 4 food tokens, and at least from the rule book, it doesn't sound like you need these to survive. This is not Robinson Crusoe. Instead, they can be used to move farther in a single round. Each round you can move 1 for free, but if you want to go 2 or even 3 spaces, you got to spend a food for each extra movement. "That's all we have for now," says the professor. "Go now. Good luck." Okay, we get to distribute everything amongst the players, but I get it all. Ha ha ha. And it's my turn. Yay! So it's recommended that you read the text out loud. Okay, and yeah, you can the app will keep track of items you should have in case you think you messed up. There's achievements. You can look back at the history, so it seems like a pretty well-featured app. But here's what a actual main turn looks like. You say where you are, and then you scan something. That's usually what an entire round looks like, and I think each player gets 3 rounds for each day of gameplay. So let's maybe do, 1 full day. So I could stay here in 1 to craft something, which would be combining my items. Now, I don't know how well a axey-knifey combo weapon would do. I think I probably want to wait until I get some more materials. Or I could stay here to ask the professor for a hint. But no, let's move out. So I've got lizardy lizard dudes over here. Reddish birds over here. Got what looks like a long-stalked kind of viney forest here. Oh, actual vines here. Lone tree and some grassland here, a craggy place. Ooh, is that a cave? Uh-oh. And looks like a river with some fish in it. That seems promising. And 2 tree places. But what is that? Is that like a snake or something? It's kind of hard for me to see without my glasses on. And then, berry bushes and more berry bushes. And then something's been dragged over here. So I feel like, unless I'm going to somehow catch the birds or catch the lizards, probably want to maybe go to the berry bushes to first get some sources of food. Oh, and a fun little touch that, again, I'm going to hold off on actually writing in until my kids are playing. But you've got this wildlife catalog. It's supposed to be like what sailors have jotted down. And it means that you can name things as you discover them and say where they are and keep notes. And here, let's actually look. So those look like the red berry bushes. Okay. Can't really tell if they're poisonous or not from that, can I? And then that looks kind of like those berries, kind of. Ooh, and look at this. It looks like the roots might be edible as well. So maybe I can actually get some like root stuff going on there. But yeah, I'm going to move to number 6 first and see what's there. So I go to the app, I say I'm at 6, and you'll see that it changes to match the map, a little zoomed in view. You're in a dense grove of shrubs with long, straight, woody stems and small leaves. And then sometimes you'll have extra actions, but usually all you'll have is use an item. By the way, this is what I know from like messing around with it for 5 seconds. So I'm talking like an authority. I don't really know what's going to happen, but based on the rulebook and what I've seen in my very brief time with the game, this is what I know. Oh, hello, there I am. Yeah, with the camera turned the correct way, I need to touch and hold to scan a card. And I mean, they are like more trees than grass, right? So I'm going to use an axe. All right, this is kind of hard to make happen. Go back up the right way. Okay, you cut some nice straight sticks from the shrubs. Ooh, so now we get a new item. See, so you get like new things to combine when you go back to camp or to use for their own. It just shows that if I had other actions, I could take them, but I'm going to click end turn in a second. But first, let's get our sticks. There we go. All right, so now we're going to end our turn. Boop. And it's my turn again. Wow. Okay, so yeah, let's try our luck with the berries that seem to have roots. Well, not just roots. All plants have roots. I mean, potentially edible, like tuberish roots. The whole area is covered with small plants growing side by side. They look exactly like species 3 from the wildlife catalog. Thank you. And yeah, I think they said like your ending score is higher if you discover more species, so it's just worth it to kind of move into their spaces. They look exactly like, I already read that. Will you give this plant a scientific name right away? Well, I'm going to let my kids name it when we actually play, but for now, I'll call them blueberries. Blueberries. Very unique name, never used before. Okay, each plant bears a couple of blue, juicy fruits. Are they edible? So here I could do 2 actions, and you can do both. It's not like one uses up your turn. Let's try them. You try some fruits. It may taste great. 2 hours after eating them, you still feel fine. So it looks like you can add them to your Castaway diet. Good. Oh, I get a free food. I got 5 now. Congratulations. You found a new source of food. So that is, 1 out of 3. And then, I want to try digging up the roots and see if I can get something extra. Yeah, by the way, this is the dumbest thing to try to get on camera. But let's, come on, touch it, do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to scan on camera anymore. That's dumb. You dig up a few plants and find that they have bulky, starchy roots. I was right. They are a bit bitter, but nutritious. Oh, we get another food. Oh, yes, we can eat that was great. I did not expect it to count as a whole extra source of food. Heck yeah. All right. Cool. And my turn. And it's my turn again. Where do I want to go? So I can't catch fish, right? Unless I maybe craft my knife onto some sticks to make like a spear, or maybe cut some vines with my knife and then craft that with the sticks to make a rod. I mean, that all sounds cool. But you know what? If I'm going to stop the video in a moment anyway, let's spend a food. Go into the cave. Although I might just say you need a torch or something like that. You're at the feet of a massive cliff. The wall is so tall and smooth that you can never climb it, even if you have the necessary equipment. There is, however, a large opening in the rock near the ground, probably an entrance to a cave. It wouldn't be possible to explore it without a source of light, though. Yeah, what did I think was going to happen here, Mike? What item can I use? Okay, well, I used the telescope, and it says the view to the west is blocked by the tall cliff, and the cave is too dark to see. To the southeast, you can see plants with giant leaves, and to the northeast, there's a large fissure in the ground. So, great. Cool. And my turn. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this. At the end of each day, you go back to camp. So the night falls over Toriki, and you all come back to your main camp. Move all to 1. And the app says, if you want to end your current game session, this is a good time. Would you like to save? So they said, I think the whole thing takes like 8 hours or so, but you can stop at the end of any day. I mean, you can technically stop whenever, but this is like the cleanest way. So let's say no. So far, your group has found 2 sources of food. Not a bad start, but you need more. As you didn't manage to build a hut, you spend the night sleeping on bare sand. You're lucky it's not raining. A new day begins. We need a fire, says the professor. Unfortunately, my matches got wet, so you have to find another way to start it. Here, take some tree bark and dry grass I collected as tinder yesterday. Okay. And I got another mission to start a fire. Great. Oh, and okay, we can freely distribute things and kind of discuss where we want to go. This is cool. I like all this. All right, now, how would I start a fire? Telescope. I could, maybe find a way to, focus the sun's rays. Does that actually work in real life? And yeah, what is going on? What's coming up out of the water here? Or I can find, some rocks to crack together to make a spark. And clearly I need fire before I can get a torch to go into 12. I do like the idea. You know what? Let's try it. I'm just going to burn my food like crazy here. And yeah, I'm going to go to 8 and maybe cut some vines and try to make a fishing rod. That was 8. Towering over the beach is a cliff covered with long rope-like vines. The rock is so tall and smooth that you could never climb it, even if you had the necessary equipment. Okay, let's use our knife. Ooh, you cut some vines. They're strong and flexible, so you can easily use them as a rope. Take vines. And just because I want to see what happens, I'm going to move back to the camp, and I'm going to try to craft something. Here we go. So, I got to scan them first. Oh, what's happening? Ooh. I'm sure there'd be music if I was not turned. Whoa. Wait, what? That does make a bow and arrow? You craft a bow from an elastic stick and a vine rope. A few sharpened sticks will do as arrows, and now you have an effective weapon. So the vines and stick go back, and I take the bow instead. Now, I imagine I could collect them again and probably build something else, because rope and sticks are always useful, but that's pretty awesome. And then I can ask for a hint. Okay. Let's ask for a hint about shelter. Do you really want me to give you a hint about this mission? It's much more fun if you first try to find the solution by yourself. Okay, never mind. Okay, respect your decision to seek the solution by yourself. I mean, I'm sure I just have to go to the forest and cut down some wood, probably, right? All right, so let's end our turn. And the last turn. Oh, I see this little thing down here. 1, 2, 3 keeps track. Let's go shoot a bird out of the sky. That's 4. Right here is what I mean, by the way. This part of the beach is almost completely empty. The sound of crashing waves mixes with the high-pitched squeaks of the orange-feathered birds flying over your head. As one of them sits on a nearby rock, you realize it's a species from the wildlife catalog. Time to name it. Dead Birds is what I'm going to name them. Ah ha ha ha! The bow is an effective weapon, even against such agile creatures as these birds. You know what? I've been on Toriki 2 days, and already I've introduced violence into the ecosystem. It's been a successful hunt. Take 2 food. Yay, I got a new source of food. So what happens? I assume at the end of the day, let's see what happens. I'm just kind of curious. Congratulations, you found the 3rd source of food for your group. You don't need to worry about starving to death. But if you want to travel further inland, you'll need more. Try finding 3 more. Okay, crud. I was going to say, I know there's still fish and there's other berries and the lizards. Lots of things to eat here, and I guess I need a lot of them if I'm going to unlock another part of the island. You complete a mission. Oh, I get 4. 3 more sources of food. Got it. All right, and night falls over in location 1. This time, sure, we'll say we want to save our game. Enter my current location. 1, right? Didn't they just say we were all in 1? Oh, because I guess you could save at other times. You want to end the current session, activate the main menu? Yes. Okay, cool. Resume last game. Awesome. All right, well, there you go. That's about as much as I want to show. I don't want to spoil too much, but I already feel kind of like the master of the island. I can hunt the birds, dig up and pick the berries and the roots. I know where to get sticks. I know where to get rope. I know where to get freaky little snaky boys. So that was fun. And I'm going to pause here and leave it up to future Mike to let us know how the game was after I played with my kids a whole bunch. Bye. All right, so I am back. I just finished Toriki, the entire campaign, unlocking almost everything. We didn't quite get all 9 gold coins that are hidden, but we got everything else. We got a very high score, because it does score you at the end. Not that it really matters. It's just a set of stars. But we finished the whole thing, and I have a lot of thoughts. So let's see. First of all, kind of the most positive things about the game. I mentioned this as I was playing in the playthrough, and this continued to be the case. This feels very much like a game that rewards you for clever thinking. Not too outside of the box, but at least it's kind of like logical thinking. Like, oh, I need a rope. How can I get a rope? I need to turn that rope into a grappling hook. How can I do that? I need to get something out of the ground. How can I do that? I need to blow something up. How can I do that? So it almost felt like a straightforward, logical, I don't know, adventure game like Monkey Island or the like, where you need to kind of use items to achieve things and do other things to get other items. But it always felt very logically sound. Nothing really required us to make like crazy, weird leaps of logic. So I appreciate that. There were also really cool things to discover, so you do eventually unlock a full map of 4 main areas, and you also unlock ways to stay in those different areas in different ways, and to travel more efficiently, and to get food more efficiently. You upgrade your base in a lot of ways. And at least we didn't see any like major game ending timer. There were timer like sort of conditions that were like, hey, this is getting worse, deal with it. But we always managed to figure out how to deal with them pretty quickly. Now, I didn't try to sort of force a bad ending. Like I didn't just keep on ending the day over and over and over again when something bad was on the horizon to see if like you could eventually trigger a game loss. But it seemed like that wasn't the case. It seemed like the game would just kind of keep on being like, hey, this is bad. Hey, this is bad until you eventually solved it. I think we needed a hint once in terms of the hint system. And the hints were okay. Like there was the one time we asked for a hint, it just gave us information we already had, but it kind of clarified that we didn't need anything else. Everything else seemed pretty straightforward, but the fact that you can ask for hints at, again, a lowering of your score, who really cares, seemed like a nice option there for players. So yeah, it was really cool. I think the entire thing took us about 6 hours. Now, it's not easy to do drop in, drop out, because once you start your saved game in the app with a certain number of players, they'll always have those players in there. But when my youngest wasn't feeling up to playing, we would sometimes play without him. And we would just either skip his turn or have him stay at base and just like kind of combine things for us. So yeah, you can kind of do, I guess you can't really add players midway through the game, but you can sort of easily control more than one character if you need to kind of push through things if not everyone's available. But some things that are maybe a little bit more negative, I think is actually probably the biggest negative for the game. And that was the potential for grind. Because a lot of the game is about getting enough food so that you can go to farther corners of the map and then getting like more far-flung save points. You don't have to go all the way back to home base each time. But we found pretty quickly that a few upgrades we encountered gave us just tons of food. And then really the biggest like kind of puzzle, if you want to call it a puzzle, was just making sure the right person had the right items, which is really an artifact of playing the game in multiplayer, right? So it was kind of annoying if I would go all the way to part of like the map and then I realized, whoops, I need this item and somebody else has it. So it just kind of like forced us to kind of burn some turns, and there's no like strict timer besides that I guess your score is going down. So yeah, there were some frustrating points where like we just kind of had to bide our time until we got the right stuff to the right place. And I'll be 100% honest, in the final probably like hour of play, once we knew exactly what we needed to do to finish like our last 3 big things, we just stopped paying attention to the food puzzle entirely. We stopped paying attention to like movement rules entirely, and we just sort of cheesed our way into the places we needed to be. That's not a huge knock against the game. We still had a great time, but if you're like really a rules stickler and you're going to play the rules as written, the bigger your group is, I think the more often you're going to have some annoyance and frustration in like not having the right item in the right place. If you're playing like true solo or even 2-player, much more likely you'll have just tons of items divided up amongst yourselves. Oh, the other thing with items, I forgot to say this. I kind of wasn't sure when I did the playthrough, but it is absolutely the case that when you combine items or use items in some cases, you lose them and have to go collect them again. So you'll like use your sticks and have to go to the place with sticks and spend a turn cutting down some more sticks. That's not annoying when it's really close to your home base, but it does get annoying when some of the materials that you have to reuse are really far away. And yeah, it was just sort of a grindy for grindiness' sake element because, you know, they could have, and I could even see them doing this in an update. I don't know. Maybe they will already have updated by the time that this video airs. But I could see them like in an update making it so that you just keep the items and you don't lose them when you combine them with something else unless you can't combine them anymore. But yeah, like going to get more vines just because I only got vines once to like make something else with vines, especially like the items that were really heavy use, like wood, sticks, vines, the stuff you would imagine to be heavily used for combinations. It was just a little bit annoying to get those multiple times. Again, not game breaking, but that combined with like sort of the movement and food puzzle, especially late game when you kind of had all the upgrades and know what you need to do, just made the game probably, I would guess like without all those sort of frustrating elements, we could have saved like a sixth of the playtime or more. Like an hour of playtime or more. So that's the biggest complaint I have. I think it is probably its smoothest as a game when you're playing true solo. If you know the grind is there, it's not going to annoy you as much. But I will say my kids really had a great time. They were really excited by it. They said that that was a great game after they finished playing it. So for families, I think it's a really big recommend. The app continued to work well the entire time. So those are my thoughts on Toriki. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, everybody. And a big thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, J. William F., Pedro Lucas, Nick Skeen, Miles, Wayne Scott, and Steve Wren. We'll see you at the next stop.